Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're taking a deep dive into something a lot of us probably don't think about too much until we need to. Concussion recovery.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you don't really want to learn about firsthand.
Exactly. So we're going to be looking at the latest acute concussion guidelines.
So we're going to break down all the essentials, and trust me, you're going to learn a lot more than just rest up,
Absolutely.
which, let's be honest, that's like the first thing everyone says.
Yeah, it's just the tip of the iceberg
Yeah,
when it comes to concussion
it
recovery.
really is.
A lot of people think of concussions as just a minor bump in the road. But the truth is, it's a brain injury. And that means understanding the recovery process is so crucial.
It is your brain we're talking about here, the control center for everything. And you know what's interesting? Concussions are way more common than people think. You hear about them a lot with athletes, obviously.
Right, but it's not just athletes.
Absolutely can happen to anyone.
And the recovery, I was surprised to learn, it's not always a quick thing.
No, it can take weeks, not just a few days.
Weeks.
Seriously.
Yeah, it's not just a shake it off kind of thing, unfortunately.
Okay, so I'm learning something new already. So what else is surprising about these guidelines? It's more than just getting your bell rung, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a temporary disruption of how the brain functions. It's caused by, a sudden jolt or impact to the head.
Like a whiplash effect almost.
Exactly, and that can disrupt how the brain cells communicate.
So it's a disruption of function, not necessarily permanent damage.
That's a really important distinction. The brain is actually incredibly resilient.
That's good to hear. But I guess I'm still a little confused. If it's temporary, why does it sometimes take so long to feel back to normal?
The guide emphasizes that recovery, it typically takes weeks, not days.
Right.
And studies show that around 70% of folks recover within 22 to 45 days. But here's the thing. For about 30% of people, it can take months or even longer to fully recover.
Yeah, that's a really important point. Every concussion is unique. There's no one-size-fits-all timeline.
Right. It's not just the, seeing stars thing. The guide, it lists a whole bunch of symptoms. You've got the expected headaches and dizziness, but then things like brain fog, sensitivity to light, even mood swings. What's wild is that some symptoms might not even show up right away.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to pay attention to any changes you notice after a head injury.
Okay, so we've got this range of symptoms, and they can pop up at different times, but what's actually going on in the brain to cause all of this?
Well, picture this. When you hit your head hard enough to cause a concussion, your brain actually moves inside your skull. That movement can stretch the connections between brain cells, called axons.
Ouch. So it's not just a little bump, it's actual stretching happening.
Yeah, at a microscopic level.
Wow.
And those damaged axons lead to what we call an energy crisis in the brain.
Hold on. An energy crisis. Like my brain's running out of power.
In a way, yes. Our brains, they need a ton of energy to function normally. But when those axons are damaged, they need even more energy to repair themselves. So there's less energy available for all the other things your brain needs to do, like thinking clearly, processing information, regulating your mood. It just drains much faster than usual.
That makes total sense. It explains why people feel so exhausted, so mentally drained after a concussion.
Exactly. And to make matters worse, there's also a blood flow issue. The blood vessels in the brain can narrow after concussion, which reduces the amount of oxygen and nutrients reaching those energy-hungry brain cells.
So it's like a double whammy. Less energy production and less energy delivery. No wonder people just feel so wiped out.
Right, but here's the crucial thing to remember. Those brain cells aren't permanently damaged. They're just temporarily working at a lower capacity.
Okay, that's actually reassuring. So if it's all about energy conservation, does that mean complete rest is the key to recovery? Like, should I just be lying in a dark room doing absolutely nothing?
That's a common misconception. Rest is definitely important in the initial stages, especially in the first 24 to 48 hours. But the guide emphasizes that recovery isn't about passive rest alone. It's about actively managing your symptoms and gradually increasing activity as you can tolerate it.
Okay, so it's not about doing nothing. It's about doing the right things at the right time, like finding that sweet spot where you're giving your brain a break, but not shutting down completely.
Exactly, and the guide introduces this concept of green, yellow, red activities to help you figure out your limits and avoid overexertion. It's basically like a traffic light system for your brain. Green light activities are those you can do without triggering any symptoms. Yellow light activities might cause some mild symptoms, and then you've got red light activities, those that make your symptoms significantly worse.
I like that. A traffic light system for the brain. So the goal is to stick with green light activities and gradually add in more yellows as your symptoms improve. But then the guide kind of throws us a curveball here, saying exercise is mandatory for recovery. Isn't that kind of counterintuitive?
It might seem that way at first, but there's actually a lot of research supporting the benefits of exercise after a concussion. In fact, studies show that people who engage in moderate exercise, they actually recover faster, and they experience fewer lingering symptoms.
Okay, you've got my attention. I need to hear more about this whole exercise as medicine approach. So tell me, what makes exercise so beneficial for the post-concussion brain?
Well, one of the main benefits is that exercise increases blood flow, which helps to counteract that blood vessel narrowing we talked about earlier. It's like giving your brain a much-needed boost of oxygen and nutrients.
Okay, so it's like jump-starting the brain's energy supply. What else does exercise do?
Well, here's where it gets really interesting. Exercise. It stimulates the production of a protein called BDNF. That stands for brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Think like fertilizer for the brain. It helps those neurons grow and connect, which is essential for learning, memory, and overall brain health.
BDNF. I'm liking the sound of that. So exercise helps with energy, blood flow, even brain cell growth. What else is on this list of benefits?
Well, let's not forget about sleep. Exercise can significantly improve sleep quality.
Yeah.
And we know that quality sleep is essential for the brain to heal and recharge.
Right. It's all connected. So we've got this incredible trifecta. Exercise helps with energy, it helps with brain cell repair, and it improves sleep. I'm starting to understand why the guide calls it mandatory for recovery.
Exactly. And the best part is, we're not talking about intense workouts here. The guide recommends activities like walking or using a stationary bike, keeping the intensity moderate and comfortable.
Okay. That's definitely doable. It sounds like a really manageable way to support my brain's healing process. So we've covered rest, managing our activity levels, incorporating exercise. Anything else we should be doing to help our brains bounce back from a concussion?
We can't forget about nutrition. What you eat plays a significant role in your overall health, and that includes brain health.
Food is fuel, and our brains need the right kind of fuel to function properly.
The guide stresses that what you eat directly impacts your brain health and recovery. It's all about choosing nutrient-rich foods that support brain function and reduce inflammation.
Sounds like a good excuse to load up on fruits and veggies.
Exactly. Fruits and veggies are packed with antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals. Aim for a colorful mix to get a wide range of nutrients.
Got it. What about protein? Does that play a role in brain recovery too?
Absolutely. Protein provides the building blocks for cell repair, and that includes brain cells. So make sure you're getting enough protein from good sources like lean meats, fish, beans, or tofu.
Now for the big question, what about carbs?
It's a common misconception that you should cut out carbs after concussion. In fact, your brain relies on glucose, which comes from carbs, for fuel. The key is to choose complex carbs over simple carbs.
So it's about choosing the right kinds of carbs, not eliminating them altogether. Think whole grains, fruits, vegetables, and legumes. Those are your go-to carbs. And of course, hydration. Hydration is crucial for overall health, including brain function.
It really is. Dehydration can actually worsen concussion symptoms, so make sure you're drinking plenty of water throughout the day.
I love how this guide breaks down nutrition into such simple, actionable tips. It's not about following some crazy restrictive diet. It's about making smart choices that support your recovery.
Exactly. And if you need a visual reminder, think of the healthy plate model. 50% vegetables and fruits, 25% protein, and 25% grains. It's a simple way to ensure you're getting a balanced mix of nutrients.
Speaking of things that are crucial for brain health, let's talk about sleep. I mean, who doesn't love a good night's rest?
And it's especially important after a concussion. Sleep is when your brain does its most important healing and repair work. And remember, all those points we discussed about exercise and nutrition, they directly contribute to better sleep quality.
So it's all coming full circle.
It really is. Exercise can help regulate your sleep cycle, while good nutrition provides the nutrients your brain needs to function optimally during sleep. It's like a chain reaction of goodness.
I love that. So what are some practical tips for getting better sleep during concussion recovery?
Well, besides regular exercise and a healthy diet, the guide recommends limiting caffeine intake in the afternoon and evening, avoiding alcohol before bed, reducing screen time before bed, and maintaining a consistent sleep schedule.
So it's all about creating a calming and consistent sleep routine.
Exactly. Think of it as setting the stage for your brain to rest and recharge effectively.
Okay, I have to say I'm feeling a lot more informed and less overwhelmed. This deep dive has been super helpful in breaking down all the key elements of concussion recovery.
It's been my pleasure to share these insights with you.
I noticed that the guide also mentions return to learn and return to sport protocols. I'm guessing those are more specific guidelines for people facing those particular challenges.
That's right. These protocols provide a step-by-step approach to gradually reintroduce safe and successful transition back to learning or sports.